Welcome back to Try Your Hand. Today we're going to be doing some book folding. The pattern that we are going to be trying today is this evergreen pattern. It's a super easy pattern to follow, so why don't we get started on it? So for the supplies, what we need is a book, a green marker, your template, a large binder clip, and a couple of paper clips. The first thing that we are going to do is to look at our pattern, and we are going to see how many steps there are in our pattern. As we see, there are 19 steps. That means that 19 pages are making up one tree. This is important because we are making a string of trees. So we want to see how many whole trees we can get out of our book. So the first thing that you want to do for this project is to see how many pages are in your book. So what I did was I flipped to the first page that was numbered, and I saw that that number was 12. I made sure that the pages in front of the book were those missing 12 pages, and sure enough they were. After that, I turned to the back of the book, saw what number was there, and then continued to number the pages until I got to the actual last page. Don't count the pages that is made out of that cardstock material. You just want the page that is like the other pages in the book. So with that, I found out that my book had 412 pages in it. I need to divide that number by 2. The reason for that is because they counted the page front and back, and for us, we just want the actual page. So I just divided that by 2, and I came up with 206. If you look at the pattern, which we did previously, we know that it takes 19 pages to make one full tree. So with that, we want to know how many full trees we can make. So I divided my 206 number by 19, and I got like 10.8. That 0.8 just means that there's going to be some pages left over, but for our purposes right now, that doesn't really matter. So just say you get 10 full trees in your project, or in my project, because my book is different than the book that you're going to get. So now that we know that there are 10 trees that are going to be made in this book, I now want to figure out how many pages that I'm not going to fold are going to be in this book. The reason for that is because I want my project to be centered in the book. So what I did was I just multiplied 19 by 10, and I got 190. So with 190, that's how many pages it takes up to make 10 trees. Then I subtracted that from 206, and with that I got 16 pages. So that's how many pages I don't fold. After that, I just divided that by 2, which is 8, which means that I then will skip the first 8 pages, and at the back of my book, there should be 8 pages left over. Now because I know that I want to skip the first 8 pages and also skip the last 8 pages, I'm going to take one of my paper clips and paper clip 8 pages on the front and 8 pages on the back. Now what we're going to do is to mark off our pages with our template. So there are 2 different ways that you can do this. The best way is to take that little strip of paper that's in the middle of your template, to cut that out on the line, and then put that on the edges of the page where you want your tree to be, putting it down there, making sure that it's pretty straight, and then just marking each line that's there. So once you have made all of your little marks, you can take a ruler to the edge of the paper and then just make a straight line down those little marks you made so that you know where you're folding each time you fold. With the second method for marking your page, what you can do is use the little graph. So with the graph, you just kind of want to open up your book, set down your graph kind of where you want your trees to be on the page, and then marking that off on that page, and then from there taking a ruler, to then mark the sides of the paper, so the paper edge. From there, what you do is then you would make sure that each time you're folding that your graph is then on the next page and then just folding on the red lines. I'll show you when we get there. All right, so with method number 1, I'm going to explain how the steps for that work. We have the steps right on your template here. So that PF means pointed fold. The 2 that's there, if you look at your pine tree template here, it's got a line that is labeled 2. So when you make your little markings on your book, that second line, that's where you want your pointed fold to be. A pointed fold is when you fold your upper hand corner and your bottom corner to a center point. I did it incorrectly here, but this is the overall shape that you're going for. So if you look down to step 2, it's got an OF. That OF means open fold. What that means is that you are going to be folding the upper corner and the bottom corner to different points, leaving a straight edge on the edges of the paper. The numbers that are there simply tell you where exactly you are going to be folding that upper and lower corners to. So each of these lines for this first method corresponds with a number. So when the directions tell you those numbers, it just means you have to fold to those lines. The second method, which is the one I used with the graph here, is the one that I used when filming all of this. So because I marked the bottom and top edge of my little piece of paper, my little graph there, I go in, open the book, of course, and then I line up the edges of my graph with the lines that I made, and I make sure that I have a page on top of that because that's the page that I'm going to be folding, and then I just make sure that my folds line up with the very edges of those red lines. And I just make sure that I move my graph inwards as each step progresses. The steps here are numbered, so I can always tell where I am in this pattern, and I usually don't lose my place. With your big binder clip, you want to clip all of your folded pages out of your way so they don't keep falling on your hands while you're trying to fold your next page. So now you just keep on folding until you get to that second paper clip. Now that the relaxing folding part is done, you can now color your trees. So for this, you just color the edges of the papers. The more you want the green to show up on those edges, you have to then really soak the paper in ink further down than just the very top of those page edges. now that's our finished project. So if you want to, you can decorate it some more. But yeah, that's it. You can put it anywhere in your house, in your room, on your shelves. It's a cool little project to have. If you want to join us for our next Try Your Hand in December, you can go to our calendar and sign up for that one. I believe we are doing some hot cocoa bomb type things. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. That should be out in the description. It should also be on our website. All right, I'll see you later.